Hi everyone, my name's Mike and welcome to the channel. First off, apologies that we've been away for so long. I know it's been probably 2 or 3 months since we last posted, but we've all been busy, new jobs, families, you know how it is, life gets in the way. But we're back now and we've got a full catalogue of videos that we're going to be bringing to you, but we're starting off today with 2 bikes. So we again have been to A&D Motorcycles, who are our friends in Denbigh. Those of you who saw the Royal Enfield Interceptor video will remember them from them. So they invited us to go and test a couple of bikes, the Himalayan and the Scram, which is a street scrambler version of the Himalayan. So we took the day and a number of us went up there and took the bikes out for a test, and this video is going to be our impressions on it. So as I said, we're hoping to pump out more videos, concentrating a bit more time on them. We've got some good stuff coming up. I keep promising this Honda 4 and it is there waiting for me to get myself together and get it videoed to you. And yeah, we've got some really good stuff in the pipeline, and don't forget to like, subscribe and click the little bell because you'll be notified when the next videos come on board. So thank you for your ongoing support and thank you for your patience, and with that, on with the show.
So we're here, the Lemon Drizzle gang en masse are here. This is Richie, who's prepped the bikes for us today, and we're going to be taking out the Himalayan and the Himalayan Scram, Street Scrambler. So Richie's going to give us all the nuts and bolts and real in-depth. Sadly not. So Richie, tell us a little bit about the bikes.
So basically, Royal Enfields, designed in the UK, made in India, single cylinders, 411 cc's, but they've made more about it, obviously, using the Scram now. Yeah. Same size the engine's always been, really. As I say, single cylinder, good little thumper. Yeah. These, I've actually done some green lane in them.
Have you?
And they were phenomenal. Yeah. Really underestimated little bike, to be fair. Yeah. It's not the most powerful thing on the road, but it'll sit happily at road speeds.
Okay.
You know, quite happily. Yeah. Once they're running, they take 1,500, 2,000 miles to run in, and then every customer says you can physically feel the engine free up there.
Okay.
So, but other than that, yeah, really good, honest little bikes. That is completely different to ride, though.
Is it?
Obviously,
that's interesting.
Bars, seating position. Yeah. Obviously, smaller tyres, wheels as well. Yeah. And the tyres, to be fair, they're not rumbly. They are. You'd think they'd be with them being a bit more knobbly-esque compared to these. Yeah. They're pretty smooth, to be fair.
Knobbly-esque, there's a new one.
That's it, we're using that one.
I made that up. It's
it's good. It's a good
That's
word.
copyright to A&D, that word.
Yeah, we were saying so.
Yeah, I'm keeping that.
Are they the same diameter? Is that on a 21 inch, the Himalayan?
21.
That's on a 21, and that's on a 19.
19.
Yeah, so that feel a bit more streety, I guess.
Yeah, it does.
Brilliant.
Good torquey little engines. Yeah. I know they're only 20 odd brake horsepower, but they use the torque that they've got really well.
And air cooled, which is nice to see. Air cooled,
yeah, old school.
No, it's a nice looking bike. Well, they're both nice looking bikes. And the build quality's there, you know.
Build quality's phenomenal.
For the money. I mean, what are these on the road, roughly, Richie?
You're looking mid-4s upwards, really. So
isn't it?
It's not a lot of money.
No, for a new bike with a warranty and everything else in the backup.
You've got 2 years manufacturer's warranty with these. Yeah. Wow. You've also got 2 years UK European breakdown cover with them, and then on the Interceptors it's 3 and 3 on those. So,
and how are they doing on the warranty claims and from a reliability point of view?
To be fair, we don't really get out. We've had a couple of obviously caliper recalls and stuff like that. Well, that was basically down to ownership over winter, not keeping them clean. But Royal Enfield jumped on top of it instead of leaving it saying, look, it's down to your error. They've jumped on top of it, They've rebuilt the calipers, upgraded the rubber, upgraded the pistons, so now they're more harder wearing over winter. Did it completely as a recall, and we don't get any issues at all. No major issues with the fours. We did have a couple of clocks steaming up, but Royal Enfield now, they were replacing them, but they don't anymore because it's not an issue to the clocks, and it will dissipate over time, and it doesn't happen
You get that with
again.
quite a lot of bikes, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
Talking about the clocks, is that a beeline navigation? On that one there?
Yeah, you've got that, and this one's got it as well.
Yeah.
It's the Royal Enfield Google app, so you download it to your phone.
Oh, okay.
And it's a basic sat nav,
Yeah.
you know, an arrow, 150 yards, but it tells you it. You can read it on the fly.
Yeah.
The only thing I found was in bright sunlight, you just had to sort of wiggle your head. It's not like a TFT screen, so
But for £4,000 or £4,500,
the technology's phenomenal.
And it's a frame like the Continental GT and Interceptor. Again, it was designed by Harris. Wasn't it? And it,
So
for an
much so they
off-road
bought
bike,
Harris.
it's still
They did.
They
Harris
bought
is their
Harris,
R&D, isn't it?
as you do. So
And while we're on that, I was at A&D a couple of weeks ago getting my Guzzi 85 service, and I had the Continental GT as a loader, and I think you got some footage of it, Mike.
yeah, I
Just in
took
the-
some footage in there.
And I tell you what, and I was saying to Richie when I dropped it off, what a great bike that was. The suspension and
Really
brakes.
surprised, weren't
You
you?
could
And
tell Harris were involved in that.
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't an amazing bike, but for the money, it is an amazing bike.
The thing is, it's all down to the monetary value, isn't it? And you look at it, and it is a complete package for second-hand bike money. Technically, a new machine for second-hand bike.
Brilliant. All right,
So
well, we're really
absolutely
looking
phenomenal.
forward to taking
I hope
them
you
out.
all enjoy it.
Thank you,
we
Richie.
will, we will.
And we'll get back to you and we'll have a chat after we've ridden them.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Okay, so this is Mike riding the bike now. So this is my first go on either of the bikes, and what charming little things they are. They don't feel that small, to be honest. I'm 6 foot, and I've got a 31-inch inseam, and the bike fitted me really well. In fact, Dave said that looking at me sitting on the bike, I didn't, because a lot of bikes I look ridiculous on. I say I look like Hagrid, and he said you don't look like Hagrid on this one. But yeah, it's lovely to ride. Obviously it's not powerful, it's got 24.5 brake horsepower, but it's just really charming. It's got great controls, everything is like, it's a modern bike, you know, it rides like a modern bike. But it's got enough power. On these roads it's fantastic, it's brilliant on these roads. The only time you do find a bit of an issue is when you come across another car. So like we've got a 60 limit on this road, and I think I'm doing 50 to 60, and that's comfortable on this bike. But if you come across a car that's doing 40, 45 and you want to overtake, it hasn't got a lot of headroom above 60, 70 mile an hour, so you've got to really plan your overtakes and you know, get past, and it'll get past all right, but it's just not, hasn't got the ease of a bigger bike, you know, where you've got the torque that will get you past. But it doesn't detract from the riding fun, and as I said, if all your friends are on it, on similar bikes, then you know it's fantastic. It'd be a great day's ride. So this is the Scram, both the same basic platform. There's a 411cc single cylinder engine, which spins up nicely and gives plenty of power for what it is. But it's amazing. And again, I think go through. It's got a sat nav on it. I think it links up to Google Maps. Very good instrumentation. The mirrors are superb on it. Very comfortable. You could take a passenger on this. The suspension feels good. It's obviously not a Ducati Super Sport, but the handling is really good on it. It feels really secure and nice when you're leaned over on it, and it's a bike that you can push along a road like this and it delivers an enormous amount of enjoyment back. And I particularly like the Scram, because it's a bit more road biased, and I'm not an off-road rider, never have been, never will be, but I just love the way that this handled the roads like this. Most of my riding is on roads like this, and it's light, it's wieldy, and as we're all getting a bit older, it's a bike that will suit us. I could see myself in my 70s getting a bike like this, and I know it hasn't got 100 horsepower, but we don't really need that in this day and age. But it's fills a niche in the market for something that is semi-classic. You could certainly have one of these and go riding with your classic friends. You could ride alongside, I could go out with Richard and Dave on their old British bikes. Though to be honest, Dave's Brit bikes are quite a bit quicker than this. His Norton and his Bonneville, but you'd still, have a lovely time riding around. And it actually feels a bit like a classic bike. Obviously, the brakes are good. They're better than a classic bike, but it's got that same sort of feeling. It's that same. And I think again, it's something that we say is just it's better to ride a slow bike fast than it is to ride a fast bike slow. It's a very satisfying bike to ride. So thank you very much, A&D Motorcycles, for letting us ride this. Thanks Sally for your ongoing support of the channel, and Richie for appearing in it, and hopefully there'll be plenty more bikes coming along. So I think I'm riding the Himalayan next, which is very similar to this, but just got a bit more to it. See you on the Himi. Okay, I'm on the Himalayan now, and much of what I said about the Scram, it bears true for this as well, except that there are differences. You've got better luggage carrying capability, and the screen's quite effective actually. We got this onto the A55, which is dual carriageway, and we're able to take it up to about 70, and it was quite effective at that sort of speed, keeping the wind off you. But it's got all the same attributes of the Scram. It's light, it's wieldy, it's good fun to ride. It's perfect for bombing down a road like this, but it's also got the wind protection, the luggage capacity, that you could go further on it. You wouldn't want to do hour after hour after hour on a motorway. Well, you could, but you'd be down to about 60. We had it up to 70, but it did sound as if it didn't have a lot of headroom above 70, for overtakes and things. But as a bike for riding around and about the roads, it's wonderful. And we didn't get the chance to take it off-road, not that I'm an off-road rider anyway. Well, Stuart and Dave did a little bit of off-road riding for the camera, but no, I loved it, and it's got fantastic look at the clocks on it. It's got the same sat nav on it. I just thought it was a lovely bike, and I could see myself owning something like this, in a few years' time. So, thank you very much for the opportunity. Right. Welcome, we're the Lemon Drizzle Gang. Probably sitting at the same table as we did last time, but we have a new member. Welcome to Keith, who's joined us for this.
Hello.
Hello. For this test. So
sounded like Leslie Phillips there. Hello.
Oh, ding dong. So we've been out today. We're at A&D Motorcycles in Denbigh, and we've taken a couple of bikes out. We took out the Himalayan and the Scram, I believe.
Royal Enfield.
Royal Enfields. Exactly
Good prompt
right.
there.
Very good. So, was one of you chaps who's better qualified on the technical side of things like to explain?
We've just done a Google search. Well, rather I have.
Tell them that.
So we sound like we know what we're talking about.
Get on with it.
But yeah, what they are is a budget, do everything bike, and the term I always use, it's a sort of Swiss Army knife type of bike. It'll do a bit of everything.
And what is it though, Rich? What's the tech spec? Briefly.
Oh well, it's a 411cc. Air-cooled with an oil cooler, and it puts out about 24.5 brake horsepower. It's about 180 kilos,
So about
and
£400.
Basically, to sum it all up, it's a very enjoyable little fun bike.
Lovely little things,
Yeah,
aren't they?
yeah.
So basically it's the same platform for both bikes.
Yeah.
One is a kind of...
One's an adventure bike,
Yeah,
and
adventure.
one's a street scrambler sort of thing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
With
Yeah.
attitude.
With
Yeah,
attitude.
the difference being is the Himalayan, which is like the adventure bike, has got a 21-inch front wheel,
Yeah.
whereas the Scram hasn't, and the Scram's also, not only has it got a 19-inch front wheel, it's a bigger tyre on it as well.
Yeah, so we took it out up in, because we're in North Wales now, so we took it up onto the Denbigh moors, but we didn't, if any of you've watched the Interceptor test that we did, it's different roads that we went on. We went on some slightly narrow roads, a bit more better suited to these bikes, and they did. They were lovely on those roads.
Great
weren't
fun,
they?
yeah.
What do you think? Yeah.
B road fun, and B roads and riverbeds, I would say, is what they're made for. You'll find out about that. Not. We all, without exception, I think, enjoy them.
Yeah.
They are 24 brake horsepower.
24.5.
They're never gonna ripple the tarmac, even on a hot day like today.
Or rip your arms out of the sockets.
No, that's not going to be a danger. But what they are is fun. They will put a smile on everyone's face. Great for... Scram feels nice riding around town, sort of, aren't I cool? And the Himalayan, you got more distance, albeit slowly.
Because you've got the screen, haven't you?
You've got the screen,
And
but they're both equally comfy. They're both equally wieldy. Not too high a seat height, as you say. Comes with all the bells and whistles. But dynamically, we all had great fun on them.
Right. What they are is a bike that you can ride up to the legal limit, and you can ride it. And I won't say ride it hard, but you can exploit the machine.
Yeah.
And you can. They always say riding a slow bike fast is much better than riding a fast bike slow.
Yeah.
And this is a prime example. Like, I don't think I went over, with the test ride that I did, I don't think I went over 60, maybe 65.
Yeah.
But it felt like I was doing 110.
Yeah.
It felt great. And they're very balanced. The handling's great for that speed, the braking's great. I would have liked a little bit more power, because one bit that I found lacking was, if you come across a car, you're in a 60 limit and you come across a car that's doing 45, you've really got to plan the overtake, and you're forever thinking, I hope there's not a tractor coming.
the thing
That's
is,
true. You've got to use this in the right environment, haven't you? But what Royal Enfield are providing, I think, is a bike that proves you don't have to do 11 million miles an hour.
Yeah.
You can have a lot of fun up to
Absolutely.
70, 75.
X-Racer,
That's great.
X-Racer, X-Racer.
Yeah.
Listen to them.
Yeah.
Old X-Racers.
The one
still
thing
willing.
I would say is you can wind them up to 70, and with that little screen on the Himalayan, you could probably hold it at 70 for quite a long time on motorway. It's quite comfortable.
I can tell you, we took the dual carriageway back, me and Mike, from where we were filming, and I sat on the A55 dual carriageway at exactly 70 on the clock, but I don't think it's far off, and it was fine. Wasn't a lot left in the tank.
No, absolutely.
But it was fine.
And the other thing to remember is these are brand new bikes, so we were being a little bit circumspect. We weren't flogging them.
No.
So I reckon there's probably another 10 mile an hour if you really want.
And that's about right for 24 horsepower. 80 mile an hour is about right with a screen, with the aerodynamics.
I mean, the thing is, if you're in a hurry, it's no good chasing the revs on one of those anyway, because the peak torque is at 4,000. So, and they're built for mid-range torque, aren't
If you're
they?
in a hurry, it's no use owning one of those.
Yeah,
but it's sort
I
of
found that revving it just made it more noise. Give
you
it
said
enough
that,
power.
didn't you?
Yeah.
But that mid-range, up to 60, just lovely.
Absolutely fine.
And
urban environment, B-road environment.
Stu and I, back in the 70s, 76, 77.
Jurassic period,
The first bike I had on the road was an XL250 Honda that I then sold to Stu. So it's pretty much our introduction to, and those happy, just learning to ride and just getting your freedom. And you said, you got off the Himalayan and you said, that's your old it's our old.
And that's why I was really looking forward to it, because obviously that's where Mike and I have cut our teeth. I've also owned a DR400, so I was looking at the sort of specs of them. Now I think the XL was a 4-valve head, and that was 24 brake horse, so it's the same sort of power, and it just feels the same. It's just so forgiving. There was a couple of. We had a bit of a spirited ride. There was a couple of corners where I thought, I could just do with changing down, and even though you were halfway through the corner, it was all smooth enough and accomplished enough to change down again. And
a lot of the time when we're filming, inevitably you're doing U-turns in gravelly lay-bys, and it's sometimes a bit awkward or difficult with bigger bikes and valuable bikes, but with those it's just feet up, do a U-turn, go back. You can
even like wet gravel, you could do it as well.
Possibly wet gravel. You need some pretty good advanced off-road skills to do wet gravel, I think, Mike. Let's not get at, you need to be a bit of an off-road god to do that. But other than that,
but on those twisty roads, I found that it was lovely when you were leaning over. You kind of, and I won't say on the edge of the tyre because you sound like a
knob.
But with it leaned over, it felt really nice. It was a bit squirmy, and it was, but it was just lovely. I was doing 55, 50 mile an hour.
There was corners that were tightening up, and you just sort of crank it over because there's plenty of sort of ground clearance.
So we talked about the dynamics. I think the other thing we all commented on at one time or another, and all arrived at similar conclusions, is the value for money and the build quality.
Yeah.
So what we all noticed when we wheeled them out and had a chat with Richie here at A&D, who's the head of sales and head of everything really, is the bits you got on it for the money. You had nice instruments. You've even got a digital compass, fuel gauge on the Himalayan sat nav app built in as standard.
Tells you what gear you're in, whether your side stands down, the temperature. Unbelievable.
I think when you walk around the bike, it doesn't scream at you that it's built down to a price. You walk around it and it's got quality.
Paint's nice, componentry's nice, the brakes are nice, bi-breeze.
Suspension's good.
Suspension's well balanced, so everything works fine, like it did on the Continental and the Interceptor I borrowed the other day. It all works well within what you'd expect for the price point. And you got LED rear lights and stuff like that.
Tyres were good.
And then you go, well, that's pretty good. And then you look at the price tag. What is it against you?
4699 for the Himalayan,
and it's £100 less for the Scram, which has got a few less bits on it. Hasn't got the tacho.
You can't. It's just beyond criticism for that price.
I know, it's brilliant.
And you get your 2-year warranty. You've got no MOTs to worry about for 3 years.
And it makes a lovely noise.
Oh yeah.
When you're riding it, not so much. But when we were doing the filming, you probably hear them on the ride-bys, but it sounds great.
It sounds like it would have a nice little pop on the overrun, and it just doesn't quite do that.
But I'm sure there's aftermarket parts.
Again, I think this is something we said about the other Enfield that we rode, is that the Interceptors. There's probably bits that you can actually, because they're so popular, you can change, and that's probably one of the things that I would change. Out of the two, I would think I'd go for the Scrambler. Just a little. it seems a nice place to be when you're on it. It's not.
It's a bit more playful, isn't it? It's a bit lighter.
It's not fussy. The sort of the big clock.
But it's a close run thing, you know. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it
a
is.
toss of a coin almost.
It is,
Yeah.
to me, the Himalaya felt a bit more grown up,
Grown up, yeah.
whereas the Scram was a bit. It was like, come on.
Yeah.
And it's back to what you were saying about the XL250.
Yeah.
The Scram evokes more
Exactly,
of that
yeah.
because adventure bikes didn't exist back then, did they?
But what's interesting is, like we talked about, Stu and I starting our riding careers on the XL250. As we're getting older, and we're all getting older, whether you like it or not, but it comes a time when you can't move your GS around. They're too big, they're too heavy. You've got these fantastic 180 horsepower KTMs or whatever they are, but you don't really enjoy them because they're too heavy and they're too much.
And they're too valuable to
They're
drop.
too valuable. Something like that, like I'm 63 now. 10 yes. In 10
Surely
years'
not
time-
Mike
I know,
Arsenic, because
I know.
nobody else was.
I look 28.
Dog years.
Give it a few. Give it a few more years, and that would be.
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
Well,
it fills the market
when I
for
when I
old codgers,
when I parked up and me and Mike got back here a bit sooner than the others, we took a different route.
as we always do.
One guy came up to me and he just sold a VFR 800 Honda because it was too heavy and too fast, especially for today's crowded policed roads. And he was looking seriously at those, and we couldn't come up with a single reason why you shouldn't consider it, at least to have a test ride.
Well, the
Because
thing is,
it
it's
was
a
like you
proper
were saying,
motorbike.
It is a proper motorbike,
Yeah.
Keith. You're right. But if you drop, we saw a lane while we were having a cup of tea out on the road, and we went, "Oh, wonder where that lane goes." With one of those, you could go up the lane. You wouldn't be thinking, "Oh my God, how am I going to do a U-turn on my 1250 water-cooled GS that cost 15 grand and is the size of a battleship?" Fantastic bikes, but as soon as you get them off the tarmac, you're like, "Don't drop it! Don't drop it! Don't drop it!"
But that's what I liked about the Scram is that it's something you could have at home and think, I'll pop into town on this.
Yeah.
Or you could pop to the pub, it's just something you put your helmet on, your jacket, shoot off, and it's nice and easy, isn't it?
And Mike looked almost cool on the Scrum.
Did I?
Yeah, almost.
My God.
Yeah, we all agreed, didn't we? Almost.
Thanks, Dave.
No, you're welcome.
I'm going to take that.
I would.
The giveaway was a helmet cam, I thought,
Yeah.
just looked like
Looked
a
like a
pipe
pipe.
inside profile.
Pipe. As you said, the pipe wouldn't actually go out; it would just glow a bit more.
I think the
horrible to
Scram
me.
would probably appeal to younger people.
Yeah,
We're
it's a
all
bit
saying,
funky. It was a bit more fun and funky.
We're
wasn't it?
all saying, older people would like this
Yeah,
because
but
it's
no, I
lighter,
could see a
but,
teenager on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, personally
Rich-
speaking, if it was my money,
yeah.
and I like VFM, as these guys all know, they call me a tight ass, and another way to describe it is the Himalayan is only an extra £100. You actually get quite a lot extra for that. You get your screen,
it
you've got
does
your
win,
luggage racks on the front, you get your tacho, and you could do some serious distance if you're not in a hurry.
If you're not in a hurry, you
And
could go anywhere.
I mean, we made the point, didn't we? And we all agreed that if we were all riding something like Himalayan, we'd have a great time. We could do the same tours.
I think that's the thing.
Go
is
abroad.
If one of you has one and your mates have all got GSs or
Whatever.
Ducati Multistradas, you're going to be a pain in the bum.
But you'd still get there, wouldn't you?
You'd still
That's the
get
thing.
there.
But yeah.
But if we were all
next
on
day.
them,
Yeah.
it would be
Yeah.
it would be a
So
riot.
Rich, Himalayan,
yeah.
Keith,
Scram.
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 That's 4-1 to the Scram then, because I'd have
dear.
the Scram as well.
Yeah.
Well,
So it shows I'm the only grown up here.
Yeah,
exactly right.
Yeah.
And you look like it too.
yeah.
All right, thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned.
We'll be
There'll be
back.
more coming. We'll be back.